Many people may know of the sport called soccer, and many people may know of the event called the FIFA World Cup. However, many people still do not know much about either. FIFA, which stands for Federation International de Football Association, puts on the World Cup every 4 years. And as one may know, it's a soccer event. Soccer, however, is not similar to other outdoor American sports like baseball and football. Football has set plays and has breaks in between. Baseball has breaks in between each inning and is structured by innings, outs, strikes, what have you. Whereas soccer just has one halftime that can be 6 to 10 minutes long and some rules. One of the rules that's kind of unwritten would be formations. There can be many different formations, as a 3-5-2, which is 3 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 2 offenders. And whereas David Knapp, an assistant director for a premier club in Ohio, describes a 4-4-2 formation as, when I played as a young boy and a teenager, everyone I played a 4-4-2 formation with a stopper and a sweeper in the defensive line, which is a stopper, which is is a diamond, right back, left back, stopper, sweeper. Another rule is the offsides rule. The offsides rule is when an offender is past the defender before the ball is passed. Obviously, one can infer that the offsides rule has been very controversial over the years. However, despite the controversies, the rule has been changed once. That rule was to clarify which is offsides and who is not. An article in the NCAA News on September 12, 2005, A Rule of Distinction, describes the criticisms of the rule, but the rule is still in place. Over 150 years, the rule is still in place. So despite the controversies, it's still going strong. Also, the last major rule to touch base on would be the 3 points for a win system. Now, one may know of soccer as the 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, 0 points for a loss. However, it has not always been this way. Before 1981, when the English introduced this new system in their Premier League, it was 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, 0 points for a loss. The whole premise behind this implementation of this new system was to get a more offensive-minded soccer teams, to create more goals per season and what have you. An essay by 2 people in the Department of Sports and Exercises department at University of Chester, Daniel Blois and Patrick Murphy, showed the study and the results of the study. The results were expected that it would create more goals per season and it would create more offense. However, the results stayed the same. It fluctuated from less goals per season to about the same goals per season as before. FIFA, which stands for Federation International de Soccer Association, implemented this new system in 1990, switched to the new system following FIFA. In Spain, in 1996, switched to a new system following Spain, Italy, and FIFA. Now, as stated earlier, the 1994 World Cup was held in the United States, which was a big deal. Because before that, there was no one really who wanted soccer in the United States. There were some people, but not enough to get something going. They had spurts, as an expert from the World 9 magazine, One New Turf by John Hayden, shows that there were some people that wanted soccer in America. A group of businessmen in 1965 wanted to form Major League Soccer in the United States because of the crowds. So, in 1968, they succeeded. They created the NSAL. However, at first it did not do it much until 1975 when the New York Cosmos brought in Pelé. Pelé was a Brazilian superstar that many people knew about. After the Cosmos brought in Pelé, the numbers skyrocketed. There were big crowds and they had finances. However, due to this rapid expansion of finances and overspending, the league collapsed in 1985. After the collapse, there was no really big push for soccer in America again. However, 6 years before 1994, FIFA declared that the United States would hold the World Cup in 1994. Critics obviously were skeptical at this fact because America was not really big in soccer. However, critics were silenced a year before, in 93, the World Cup, because 1 million tickets sold out in just 6 weeks. That was before any team had qualified yet, which was a big deal because obviously soccer had not been that big in America. One more excerpt from the Central Penn Business Journal by David W. Patty describes us an example of what it was like in 1978 when he was playing soccer. He was in high school and he was playing soccer with his teammates and him followed the World Cup in 1978. However, it was 1978 and there was no big coverage, no CNN, no ESPN, no internet to show the World Cup. So when there was news on the World Cup, it was days, even weeks old in newspapers. Obviously, soccer has come a long way. Now, you have ESPN, which does day-to-day coverage on World Cups now. You have the internet, which is also live streaming, and you have people who care about soccer in the United States. Which, from 20 years ago, would not be the case.